Well, America, I hope you like measles. Thanks to all of you. This just in, President-elect Donald Trump has just announced a new name to be added to his incoming administration.
You're exactly right? He's just flooding the zone with shit to hope to get maybe other appointees down the line. Because they got to absorb these bunch of idiots, right, that are coming out right now.
Oh, my God. I mean, those of us who have spent our, lifetime, kind of decades working in and around in HHS, I'm not kidding, Nicole, my texts are flying off the chain, both Democrats and Republicans saying, this can't be real. Someone must have gotten this wrong. This can't be possible. And now the second underlying chain, if there's some silver linings, the second thought I had is he can't get confirmed, can he? But
I don't know what you want me to say. I am just at a loss because we're watching something happen in slow motion that is terrifying. You know, the reason we have a great country is because there are pillars in place. There are columns and structures, just like in your house, columns and pillars that you don't see, but they keep things in a good place. They keep things in a good direction. We have healthy children because there are people who've made sure that there are things in place for that. And right now we're seeing termites unleashed on everything. And this is a termite appointment. We know for sure that Bobby Kennedy is a vaccine denier. He's a vaccine denier. He denies being a denier. But
this is the absolute triumph and takeover of the Republican Party by Maga. And it will be the takeover of the U.S. government by Maga if the Senate lets all of these people go through.
They've lost, gang. They've lost. You could see it in their faces. This is the meltdown, the collective hysterical meltdown of an elite establishment watching their entire world burn to the ground. I'm going to show you precisely what's behind these meltdowns, why the Democrats have literally lost everything, and why a new MAGA revolution is just beginning. You're going to absolutely love this.
Earlier today, I spoke with President-elect Trump and congratulated him on his victory. I also told him that we will help him and his team with their transition, and that we will engage in a peaceful transfer of power.
Well, Mr. President-elect and former President, thank you. Donald, congratulations. Thank you. And looking forward to having like we said, smooth transition. Do everything we can to make sure you're accommodated, what you need. And we're going to get a chance to talk about some of that today. So good. Welcome back.
Gang, what you just saw there was both the president and the vice president eerily congratulating Trump and promising a peaceful transition of power. Well, that's something I'd like to believe, but it's hard to believe those words when they're coming from the mouths of pure serial liars. I mean, career liars. So what does that mean for the next few months? The opposite of what they're promising. So absolute chaos. Economically, culturally, politically. We might be in for war for all we know. So what should you do? You should at least own some gold. The markets might be up right now, but who knows what's going to happen between now and January. You need to protect yourself against the last hurrah of the worst administration America has ever had. We know it's coming. I don't know what, but something is between now and January 20th. You might think they're just going to hand over a pristine, happy, functioning country to the man they tried to assassinate and put in jail, entirely ruin. No, something's coming, and you need to be financially prepared for it. You need to talk to Goldco and protect yourself against this last battle. Get some gold in your portfolio. In the coming months, you'll be glad that you did. Click the link in the description below or scan the QR code and just chat with them. You'll be glad that you did. One of my all-time favorite Winston Churchill quotes is, "There is nothing more exhilarating in life than to be fired upon without effect." There is nothing more exhilarating in life than to be fired upon without effect. And that's what it felt like last night. I mean, judging by the scenes from the America First Institute celebration at Mar-a-Lago. You may have seen scenes of this on X. But one of the speakers was Elon Musk. And what he said there is that what we're going to see over the next 4 years is not politics as usual. What we're going to see is a revolution. This is not politics as usual. This is a revolution. This is the very revolution that we've all longed for over these last 4 years. And indeed, it's the same revolution that the political left, particularly in the legacy media, have long dreaded. Over the last week, with President Trump announcing his cabinet at breakneck speed, and we've actually never seen anything quite like this, the Democrats and their pathetic mouthpieces in the legacy media have literally descended into delirious hysterics. Take, for example, the latest from the gift that never stops giving, AOC on MSNBC.
We haven't even gotten to Tulsi Gabbard potentially having access to national security information, and Russia loves it, loves her.
And I actually think almost more than Matt Gaetz, Tulsi Gabbard's appointment is devastating. And Tulsi Gabbard's nomination, as much as she says that she's an anti-war person, she's not.
Yeah.
She supports very pro-war individuals,
including
abroad.
in Syria.
And let's be very clear, a Tulsi Gabbard nomination is a pro-war nomination globally, point blank, period.
As is Donald Trump as president of the United States.
What is it with the eyes of lunatics? Have you noticed that? They're all just, they've got these they just stare at you with those Tim Waltz eyes. I mean, what is it? I'll have to ask Jordan Peterson that sometimes. Now, if you're having a hard time wrapping your head around that excuse for a conversation, wrapping your head around how the only U.S. president in modern politics who never started a new war during his tenure, his first term, how the only U.S. president in modern politics to have never started a new war is somehow a pro-war president. If you're having a hard time wrapping your head around that, you're not alone. Here is the one and only Scott Jennings trying his best to resuscitate sanity in the midst of a CNN panel.
Intellectually honest, there's really no good reason why Bobby Kennedy, RFK Jr., should be HHS secretary. An advisor, a confidant, somebody who talks to the president and advises, but there's no managerial experience in his resume. There's nothing that says he is qualified to do this job that is in charge of the health of all of us, all these different lanes. If he has views and has insights around food sources, around vaccines, then those should be given in advisory roles.
Why?
Well, because...
Well, what were the qualifications of the previous ones?
Well, I think it's important to always remember that you put yourself... Say that again?
What were the management qualifications? I mean, Xavier Becerra...
I'm not talking about the previous. I'm looking forward.
But you're calling into question whether he could actually do this job. And I think it's...
Absolutely. I think America is now, and I think
it's important to discuss it, because Xavier Becerra was just a lawyer and a politician with no management experience.
So does two wrongs make a right?
Sylvia Burwell was a Walmart lobbyist. Donna Shalala was a university person. Look,
RFK Jr. is a nut.
Okay, so that's different than what you just said. You just said he doesn't possess the requisite managerial experience, but then we get to the real issue here, which is you want to insult the man, which is your right to do because you opposed him in the election. But you, Doctor, are raising the issues that he has been raising, and I think they're appropriate questions to raise. I don't know whether he can be confirmed or not. The vaccine stuff at the table is obviously going to be the flashpoint of this hearing. Mm-hmm. But I'll tell you one thing. This whole issue of the CDC and these public health agencies, look, public trust in the health regime in this country is as low as it's ever been.
But why, Scott?
Because of COVID.
Right.
Because of school closures. Because of mask mandates. Because this country was... But let me just finish. Because this country was drugged through a bunch of condescending and heavy-handed mandates that all turned out to be garbage, and that's why it's low, and the questions are valid.
And RFK is the answer to all of that.
Yeah, but RFK helped promote the assault on the CDC that lowered the disinformation that led to more than a million deaths, Scott. More than 1 million deaths in the United States, higher than any other industrialized nation per capita. That's the result of failed policies, the demonization of the conspiracy theories.
Whose policies?
All right, under the Trump administration.
John,
That's right, Scott. Let me tell you, because since nobody's watching us, since our ratings are down 90%. But Scott, let me tell you, it's not the Democrats. It's not the garbage mandates, all of which were overturned as unconstitutional. No, it's not the heavy-handed, tyrannical technocrats that set trust and confidence in the CDC back 30 years. No. Scott. It was disinformation. That's why the legitimacy crisis is affecting our health and human services CDC. It's disinformation peddled by Robert F. Kennedy, who, by the way, we all celebrated as a hero back in 2008 when Barack Obama was considered picking him as a member of his cabinet. But no. It's never the establishment. No, it's not the establishment that's gone nuts. It's not a bunch of woke people who don't know what a woman is who are nuts. No, it's Robert Kennedy. He's nuts. Now, gang, as you, I'm sure, figured out, all of it is gaslighting at an utterly farcical level. But what makes it all the more, frankly, bizarrely enjoyable is that no one is listening to them anymore. Less people are availing themselves of these meltdowns, these woke, left-wing, pro-establishment meltdowns than ever before. Their audiences have literally never been lower. We talked about this in yesterday's video. It's being widely reported that CNN, that panel that you just saw, probably about half of them are going to get laid off. They're about to conduct mass firings to offset their loss in ad revenue because they're suffering from their lowest ratings in 3 decades. In addition, Comcast is trying to offload MSNBC onto somebody, some poor sap who would buy that. Well, maybe it'd be pretty cool. Might be pretty cool if someone like Elon bought MSNBC. Alex Jones is looking for a new home, isn't he? So Comcast, which owns NBC, is looking to sell off its ultra-left spinoff MSNBC because it's simply not making money anymore. So you're having all of these literally unhinged meltdowns over Matt Gaetz and Bobby Kennedy and Pete Hegseth. But to add insult to injury, nobody is tuning into these meltdowns. And the reason for that is very simple. People have had enough of being lied to. People have had enough of being, not everyone. I talked about this with Mark Mitchell Rasmussen last night. One of the key differences between Republicans, MAGA Republicans, and Democrats in this campaign cycle was that Republicans, and I know all of you would agree with this because you chimed in on this, Republicans wanted to be told the truth. I know that. I heard it from you guys time and time again in the comments and the questions that you that send me. You wanted the truth. If voters were rejecting Donald Trump, you wanted to know that. You wanted to know that. You wanted to know if the polls that had him up, the best polls that we've seen in more than 2016, 2020, best polls we've seen ever of Trump. You wanted to know if those polls were real. Are you sure they're not rigging those polls to lure us into a false sense of confidence here? You wanted to know the truth. You wanted to make sure we did everything we could to highlight the possibility of election shenanigans surfacing once again and what we can do to stop it. You wanted the truth. And I hope I proved myself that I was absolutely dedicated every single day to delivering you the truth as best as I understood it. And I was with you. I was the same way. If Trump wasn't doing well, I wanted to know, because then that'll help us prepare for 2026, 2028, and the like. But for the Democrats, or at least, again, in fairness, a particular rabid wing of the Democrats, things were very different. These Democrats, all throughout the campaign, seemed to both demand and frankly revel in being lied to. They appeared to revel in the blatant fabrications that were laid out before them by an all too eager to accommodate legacy media. And I'm not exaggerating. Take a look at how Rachel Maddow of MSNBC reported on a poll where even some of the most liberal pollsters believed to be completely inaccurate, completely fallacious, just 3 days before the election. Take a look at how she presented a poll, again, that even liberal pollsters said, oh, don't pay any attention to that. That's a total outlier. Look at how she reported this.
Seltzer's recent track record. I mean, what you see here is in each election year, what her final poll said the result would be in Iowa. Next to that is what the actual result was on Election Day. And as you can see, if you look at the Senate and presidential races since 2012, her poll has accurately predicted the winner of the Senate and presidential races in Iowa within 1 or 2 points every time. There was a governor's race in 2018 where things went a little bit gang-a-glay, but in Senate and presidential races, you have seen Ann Seltzer basically as a living bullseye. And that's why lots of people had strong reactions when the Des Moines Register Ann Seltzer Iowa poll was posted last night. This is that poll, and it is a shock result. It shows Kamala Harris ahead of Donald Trump by 3 points in Iowa. And the reason this is consequential to our psyche is that if this is accurate, and if anybody is accurate, it's likely to be Ann Seltzer in the Iowa poll. If this is accurate, this implies that Harris might be winning Iowa. 3 points, granted, is within the margin of error here, but it's 3 points. Iowa is a state where neither campaign has spent any time or resources since the primaries. They don't have a ground game there. They don't have ads up there. Trump won Iowa by 8 points last time and 9 points the time before that. Nobody thinks of it as a swing state. A Democratic presidential candidate hasn't won Iowa since Barack Obama in 2012. But here she is with a lead. In addition to that top-line lead, the poll's internal numbers show dynamics in terms of women voters, and particularly older women voters, that could, again, if they hold, have really major implications beyond Iowa.
It makes me mad just to think. I know she's got record low ratings right now, but to think of all those people that believed her, that believed that. I told you on this channel before the election, I mentioned that poll. Anyone who follows and analyzes politics and seeks to do so accurately and with a semblance of credibility and integrity, and I'm talking literally everyone, knew that that poll was patently absurd. It's not even a matter of this poll being an outlier. I mean, you're going to have polling outliers, right? That's why you're going to have polls that diverge from the polling consensus. Sure, no question. And if you want to focus on that, like, hey, maybe this is the beginning of a trend here. You know, these other guys are being caught behind. They're hurting over here, and hey, we're going to be on the cutting edge of this trend. Okay, but at least make an argument for that. If Maddow at least said that, if she at least said, guys, this is a serious outlier, There are all kinds of indicators that show it's not happening. No, Kamala's team is not even remotely campaigning in Iowa. They've got their internal polls. I've talked to them. They said, no, that's an outlier. Forget. I mean, that would have been at least within the realm of responsible political analysis. But as you can see there with your own eyes or hear with your own ears, if you're one of our 20 million podcast downloads, she celebrated that poll with her dwindling audience. She cheerled that poll with her rabid, frothing at the mouth audience. She championed it as signaling a massive landslide win for Kamala. But Bobby Kennedy is the nut. As it turns out, that poll was, it was slightly wrong. It was slightly off by just 17 points. Would you trust a pollster who gave you a poll that was 17 points off? Would you put money ever again on what that pollster said? The company, by the way, behind Seltzer's polls is actually being investigated for polling impropriety. And Seltzer's reputation is in utter and complete tatters. And Rachel Maddow, well, her audience is once again abandoning her and her fledgling network. That's why Comcast is trying to get rid of it. MSNBC has lost half of their primetime audience since election night. You heard that right, half. And it's not just MSNBC, right? According to the Nielsen ratings, CNN has lost upwards of 40% of their audience. And keep in mind, like I said, they currently have the lowest primetime viewership in the last 3 decades. They can't afford to lose too many more. So while there is a rabid core of Democrats that clearly want to be lied to, and Rachel Maddow and the nightly lineups at MSNBC and CNN certainly are more than willing to accommodate that psychopathic inclination, while there are a rabid core Democrats that want to be lied to, obviously a significant number don't. Obviously a significant number, and that's why I'm trying to be fair here. Well, the numbers bear it out. Obviously, a significant number of them don't. They don't want to be lied to. Hence why all CNN, MSNBC are hemorrhaging viewers. They feel betrayed, as they should. Yes, Rachel Maddow betrayed you. She harped on your highest hopes, and she profited off of it. She cared nothing about political, analytical integrity. Nothing. And she brought you for the ride. Your heart got crushed on November 5th. And she just goes, oh, well, misogyny, racism. Robert Kennedy's a nut. So what does all this mean? It means that the fledgling networks of MSNBC and CNN are increasingly talking to a more radicalized audience. You got to let that hit you as they see the audience that actually wants honesty leave. Who's left? Who's left is your radicalized, frothing at the mouth lunatics. And so it's no coincidence that since the election, the fabrications we've been hearing from MSNBC and CNN have gotten wilder and loonier. They will actually tell their audience that the most anti-war president that we've had in modern politics is a pro-warmonger. They will tell their audience that the total implosion in trust and confidence in the CDC and our health institutions is because of a bunch of disinformation shared by this HHS nominee and Elon Musk. This is what the legacy media has been reduced to. The reason why the legacy media is flipping out over these nominations is precisely because the only audience left to listen to them are rabid left-wing radicals that want to be lied to. They want the fabrications to continue. And why? You can answer the question. You know it. What's the answer? Put it in the chat. Why do they want to be lied to? Why do the most extreme, woke, frothing at the mouth leftists want to be lied to? Because they're living a lie. In a nutshell. And it's all coming crashing down for them. Woke leftists live in a fabricated reality. They live in a world that doesn't actually exist. A world of their own making, of their own construction. And they can't handle reality as it actually is. We mock them, but there is a real tragedy to this.